The crystal chambers of the Galactic Council hung in space like a frozen star. Inside the massive structure, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that glowed with soft blue light. Each creature looked different from the others. Some had scales, others had tentacles, and a few looked like living energy wrapped in metal suits. Council Prime Veltar floated above his chair. His body was made of silver mist that moved like smoke in the wind. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. We must discuss the Earth problem today. War Master Crix clicked his mandibles together. He looked like a giant ant, but walked on 2 legs and wore military armor. His black eyes reflected the chamber's light as he spoke. The humans are too violent. They fight each other constantly. In the last 100 years of their time, they had 2 massive wars that killed millions. Indeed, agreed another council member. Our scouts report they have weapons that can destroy their entire planet. What kind of species creates such things? Veltar's misty form swirled slowly. This is why we must act. For 800 years, we have kept peace in this galaxy. Every species we have contacted has been grateful for our guidance. The humans will be no different. Deep in space, millions of miles away from the council meeting, Earth spun quietly around its yellow sun. Most humans had no idea that alien eyes were watching them, but in a secret government building in Seoul, Tae-min Kim knew the truth. Tae-min stood in front of a large screen showing satellite images of space. He was 42 years old with graying hair and tired eyes. He had spent 20 years in the military before becoming Earth's first alien contact specialist. The job existed for only 6 months, ever since the aliens first made contact. "Sir," said Sora Park, walking into the room with a tablet in her hands. She was the head of Earth's Defense Intelligence, a small group that most governments didn't even know existed. "We're getting another transmission from them," Taemin nodded. "Put it on the main screen." The wall in front of them flickered and showed the inside of the alien council chambers. Veltar's voice filled the room, but the words came through a translation device that made him sound robotic. "People of Earth," Veltar began. "We are the Galactic Council. We represent 12 advanced civilizations that have lived in peace for many centuries. We have watched your species for some time and have great concern about your violent nature." Taemin felt his jaw tighten. Sora's hand moved to her weapon out of habit, even though the aliens were thousands of light years away. "You fight wars among yourselves," the alien continued. "You create weapons of mass destruction. You harm your own planet with pollution and waste. This behavior cannot continue if you wish to join the galactic community." The image changed to show a list of demands written in simple English. Taemin read them aloud for the recording devices. "Surrender all military weapons to council representatives. Submit 30% of your population for neural modification to reduce aggressive tendencies. Accept permanent council oversight of all government decisions. Allow council bases to be built on Earth, Mars, and your moon." Sora's face went pale. "Neural modification? They want to change how people think? And we have 72 hours. To agree," Taemin added, reading the final line. "If we refuse, they will begin what they call systematic containment procedures." The transmission ended, leaving them in silence. Taemin walked to the window and looked out at the busy city. Below, people were going about their normal lives, not knowing that aliens wanted to change their brains. "What do we know about their military strength?" Taemin asked. Sora checked her tablet. "Our deep space sensors picked up at least 50 ships in our solar system. Each one is bigger than our largest aircraft carrier. Their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours. And the other species they've helped?" "That's the interesting part," Sora said, pulling up files on her screen. "Every species they contacted surrendered immediately. Most of them sent messages thanking the Council for bringing peace to their worlds." Taemin turned around. "Every single one?" "Every single one. No species has ever fought back against the Council. In space, Captain Hyunwoo Lee stood on the bridge of Earth's newest ship, the Indomitable. It was humanity's first vessel designed for deep space travel. The ship was small compared to the alien vessels, but it was fast and built with the best technology Earth could create. "Captain," said his communications officer, "we're receiving the emergency signal from Earth Command." "Put it through." Taemin's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired and worried. "Hyunwoo, I need you to come back to Earth immediately. Bring the ship and your best crew. We have a situation." "The aliens?" Hyunwoo asked. "Yes, and it's worse than we thought." Back on Earth, government leaders from every major nation gathered in an underground facility. The room was crowded with presidents, prime ministers, and military leaders. Everyone spoke at once until Taemin stood up and called for silence. "We all heard the message," he said. "The aliens want us to surrender our weapons and let them change our people's minds. The question is, what do we do?" The President of the United States spoke first. "Maybe we should consider their offer. If they're as advanced as our reports say, fighting them would be suicide." "Suicide is better than slavery," said the Russian premier. "They want to change how we think. That's not help, that's conquest." The Biosai Chinese leader nodded in agreement. "Our ancestors fought against invaders with spears and arrows against guns. Sometimes the weaker side wins through determination." "But this isn't just about weapons," argued the president of Brazil. "They have technology we can't even understand. They can travel between stars. What do we have that could possibly hurt them?" Sora stood up and activated a holographic display. "Our intelligence suggests something important. In 800 years, the Council has never faced real resistance. Every species they contacted gave up without a fight." "Maybe those species were smart," someone said. "Or maybe," Taemin replied, "they never had to fight for anything before the Council arrived. Earth is different. We've been fighting for survival since the beginning of our history. We've fought ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. We've never had peace handed to us." The room fell quiet as everyone thought about his words. "I say we fight," said the Korean Prime Minister. "My grandfather fought against impossible odds in the war. He always said that the enemy's biggest weapon is making you believe you've already lost." One by one, the leaders voted. It was close, but in the end, 23 nations voted to resist and 18 voted to surrender. Earth would fight. As the meeting ended, Taemin looked at So-Ra. "Do you think we're making the right choice?" She smiled grimly. "Probably not. But it's the human choice." In space, the Council ship detected the signal from Earth. The message was short and simple. "The people of Earth reject your demands. We will defend ourselves." War Master Crix laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Foolish creatures. They will learn the price of defying the Council." But Council Prime Veltar felt something he had not experienced in centuries. For the first time since he could remember, another species had said no. The 72 hours were up. Earth's answer was final. The war was about to begin. The Earth had never moved so fast. In every major city, factories that once made cars and computers now built weapons and armor. Workers stayed at their jobs for 18 hours a day. Everyone knew that time was running out. Ji-hoon Choi wiped sweat from his forehead as he looked at the massive weapon he had designed. The Fury system looked simple, just a long metal tube with computers attached to it. But Ji-hoon knew it could throw a tungsten rod faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. "Will it work?" asked the factory supervisor, a woman who had been making car parts just 2 weeks ago. "It should," Ji-hoon said. "The aliens use energy shields to protect their ships. Those shields can stop laser beams and plasma bolts, but they're not designed to stop a big chunk of metal moving at half the speed of light." Across the factory floor, workers assembled hundreds of these weapons. They were crude compared to alien technology, but they were human, built with determination and desperation. In another part of the world, Minji Han climbed into the cockpit of her fighter ship. It was small and fast, with 2 Fury weapons mounted on each wing. The ship looked like a metal arrow with engines attached. "How does it feel?" asked her mechanic. "Like riding a rocket with wings?" Minji replied. She had been Earth's best test pilot before the aliens arrived. Now she was training dozens of pilots who had never flown in space before. "Remember, speed is everything. These alien ships are big and slow. We're small and fast. Hit them and get away before they can target us." Her squadron nodded. Most of them were fighter pilots from different countries who had never worked together before. But the alien threat had made them into a team faster than years of training ever could. Captain Hyunwoo Lee stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched the work happening around Earth. The planet looked like a beehive, with ships and satellites moving in every direction. Cargo vessels carried weapons up from the surface. Military ships that had never left Earth's atmosphere were being fitted with new engines and armor. "Captain," said his tactical officer, "we're getting reports from our deep space scouts. The alien fleet is moving closer. They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours." Hyunwoo nodded. The plan was risky, but it was the only chance they had. Instead of waiting for the aliens to attack Earth, humanity would strike first. 3 small fleets would hit alien observation posts in different star systems at the same time. The goal was to surprise them and show that humans could fight back. "Send the signal to all ships," Hyunwoo ordered. "Operation Hammer begins now." Da-eun-yu sat in her laboratory, surrounded by screens showing alien biology reports. As Earth's best xenobiologist, she had spent months studying every piece of information they had about the Council species. Most of it came from the aliens' own transmissions. "Look at this," she said to her assistant, pointing at a genetic scan. "The Aquarian species, the ones that look like blue jellyfish, their nervous systems are completely different from ours. They react to pain much more strongly than humans do. And the Threnodi, the insect-like ones, they have a group mind. If you hurt their leader, the whole group becomes confused." "How does that help us?" her assistant asked. "It means they don't think like us," Da-eun explained. "They've never fought, an enemy that was willing to take heavy losses to win. When they see us sacrifice ships and lives for victory, it will shock them more than any weapon could." In the Aquarian fleet, Admiral Rethak floated in his command tank filled with blue liquid. His transparent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that showed his emotions. Right now, those patterns showed confidence and mild annoyance. "The human response should come soon," he told his bridge crew. "Our intelligence says they have perhaps 50 small ships. We have 300 vessels, each one superior to anything they can build." "What if they surrender?" asked his tactical officer. "They will," Rithak replied. "All species surrender when they see our power. These humans will be no different." But Rithak was wrong. The first sign of trouble came from the observation post near Jupiter. The post was a small station with 20 alien scientists and a light escort of 5 ships. They were studying human space travel when their sensors detected something moving very fast toward them. "Contact coming in at high speed," reported the station's sensor operator. It's one of the human ships." The station commander, a crystalline being named Zektar, looked at the display with confusion. "One ship? Are they trying to surrender?" The human ship was the Defiant, a converted cargo vessel with armor welded to its hull and every weapon Earth could fit inside it. Captain Park Sung-ho stood on its bridge knowing he had only one chance to make this work. "All power to forward shields," he ordered. "Ramming speed." The alien escort ships fired their energy weapons, but the Defiant's crude armor absorbed most of the damage. The ship kept coming, straight at the largest alien vessel. "They're going to collide with us!" shouted the alien ship's captain. "All ships, evasive maneuvers!" But it was too late. The Defiant smashed into the alien ship's side, breaking through. Shields that were designed to stop energy weapons, not physical impacts. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The same scene played out across 3 different star systems. Human ships attacked alien positions using tactics that no civilized species would attempt. They rammed enemy vessels, set off explosions that damaged their own ships, and kept fighting even when their ships were falling apart. Min Ji-han led her fighter squadron against an alien patrol near Mars. The enemy ships were beautiful, sleek and silver with flowing curves. They moved like dancers in space, elegant and precise. "Remember the plan," Min-ji said over the radio. "Fast and dirty. Don't try to be pretty." Her fighters dove toward the alien ships like angry wasps. The aliens tried to target them with precise energy beams, but the human ships moved too unpredictably. They rolled and spun and changed direction in ways that made no tactical sense. "I can't get a lock on them," complained an alien gunner. "They're flying like they're insane." Min-ji smiled inside her helmet. That was exactly the idea. While the aliens tried to calculate the perfect shot, she fired her fury weapons at close range. The tungsten rods punched through the enemy ship's shields like bullets through paper. "Target destroyed," she reported. "Moving to the next one." But the real shock came when the aliens tried to fight back properly. They surrounded a damaged human fighter and demanded its surrender. Instead of giving up, the pilot aimed his ship at the nearest alien vessel and activated his self-destruct system. The explosion took out both ships. "Did that human just kill himself rather than surrender?" asked an alien captain, his voice full of disbelief. "Confirmed," replied his sensor officer. The pilot destroyed his own ship when capture was certain. In the council chambers, emergency reports flooded in from all 3 attack sites. War Master Crix read the casualty lists with growing amazement. In 1 day of fighting, the humans had destroyed more council ships than had been lost in the previous century. "How is this possible?" demanded one of the council members. "They fight without honor," Crix replied. "They use ramming attacks, suicide, runs, and weapons that no civilized species would build. They fight like wild animals." Council Prime Veltar's misty form swirled with agitation. "But they are winning." On Earth, the reports came in throughout the night. Humanity had lost 30 ships and 800 crew members, but they had destroyed 47 alien vessels and forced the council fleets to retreat from all 3 systems. Taemin Kim stood in the command center watching the celebration around him. People were cheering and hugging each other. But he knew this was just the beginning. "They'll be back," Sora Park said quietly. "And next time they'll be ready for our tactics." "Then we'll have to come up with new ones," Taemin replied. "That's what humans do. We adapt." Captain Hyunwoo received orders to return to Earth immediately. As the Indomitable turned toward home, he looked at the stars and wondered what other surprises humanity had in store for the galaxy. Behind them, alien rescue ships searched the wreckage, trying to understand what had just happened. For the first time in 800 years, the Galactic Council had lost a battle. The humans had shown they could fight. Now everyone wanted to know what they would do next. The Galactic Council chambers had never seen such chaos. For 800 years, these meetings had been calm and orderly. Now, representatives from 12 different species shouted at each other in voices that ranged from musical chimes to grinding metal. 47 ships! War Master Crix slammed his armored fist on the table. "In 1 day, these primitive humans destroyed 47 of our vessels!" Council Prime Veltar's misty form swirled faster than usual, showing his agitation. "How is this possible? Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs." Navigator Zilphon, a crystalline being that looked like living diamond, spoke in a voice like wind through glass. "Perhaps we underestimated them. The humans fight differently than any species we have encountered. They fight like savages," spat Admiral Kiresh of the Saurian fleet. His reptilian features showed disgust as he continued. "Ramming attacks? Suicide runs? No civilized species uses such tactics." "But they work," Zilphon pointed out quietly. On Earth, Wu Jin Lim sat in a dark room filled with quantum communication equipment. His job was to listen to alien transmissions and break their codes. He had been working without sleep for 36 hours, but what he was hearing kept him awake better than any stimulant. "Sora, you need to hear this," he called to his supervisor. "I've been monitoring council communications. They're panicking." Sora Park hurried over to his station and put on headphones. Through the static and alien languages, she could hear the fear in their voices. "Play the Saurian transmission," Wu Jin said. A reptilian voice filled their headphones, speaking in heavily accented English. "My fleet refuses to advance toward Earth until we understand these human tactics. We lost 3 ships to vessels 1/10 our size. My captains are calling it dark magic." "Dark magic?" Sora raised an eyebrow. "They think we're using magic? It gets better," Wu Jin said, switching to another channel. "Listen to this luminary transmission." A voice that sounded like singing crystal came through the speakers. "The humans destroyed their own ships rather than surrender. In 800 years of council history, no species has chosen death over capture. These beings are not rational." Sora smiled grimly. "Good. Let them think we're crazy. Fear is a weapon, too." But not all council species were afraid. On the crystalline planet of Velthara, Navigator Zilphon stood before a gathering of his people. The crystalline collective had always been the most thoughtful members of the council, preferring careful analysis to quick action. "Fellow crystals," Zilphon said, his voice resonating through the chamber like a bell. We must consider what we have learned about these humans. Yes, they are violent. Yes, they use tactics we find disturbing. But ask yourselves this. In 800 years of peace, what have we become? An older crystal, her facets clouded with age, spoke up. We have become civilized, Navigator. We have ended war and brought order to the galaxy. Have we? Zilphone asked. Or have we simply made everyone the same? Every species the Council has contacted has given up their weapons, accepted our modifications, and become docile. They no longer create new art, new music, new ideas. They are peaceful, yes, but are they alive? The chamber fell silent as the crystals considered his words. Meanwhile, on Mars, Hyojin Ko crouched behind a makeshift barricade as alien energy bolts flew overhead. The Council had landed ground forces on the Red Planet, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow any rules of warfare. Incoming transport on the left, called one of her soldiers. Looks like more of those bug things. Hyojin peered around the corner and saw a Council dropship landing. Insectoid soldiers poured out, their movements perfectly coordinated. They advanced in neat formations, just like the military manuals said they should. Wait for it, Hyojin whispered into her radio. Let them get close. The alien soldiers marched forward, scanning for enemies with their advanced sensors. They found nothing. The humans had learned to hide in ways that fooled alien technology. When the bugs were 50 meters away, Hyojin gave the signal. Now! Explosions erupted from underground as mines and booby traps activated. The orderly alien formation dissolved into chaos. Soldiers that had never faced irregular warfare suddenly found themselves under attack from enemies they couldn't see. But the worst shock came when they captured a human position. Instead of surrender, the defenders fought hand-to-hand with knives and improvised weapons. Some humans even attacked with their bare hands when they ran out of ammunition. These creatures are insane, reported the alien field commander. They fight until death, even when victory is impossible. Request immediate reinforcement and psychological warfare specialists. General Tuxmari received the reports in his command ship orbiting Mars. The multi-armed alien had commanded Council forces for 2 centuries and had never seen anything like this. Every species he had fought surrendered when defeat became certain. The humans seemed to become more dangerous when they were losing. Sir, said his aide, the 3rd Battalion is requesting permission to retreat. They say the humans are using evil tactics, and their soldiers are becoming afraid to leave their transports. Tuxmari's 4 eyes narrowed. Retreat? From primitive humans? Absolutely not. If ground assault is ineffective, we will use orbital bombardment. Sir, orbital bombardment of populated areas violates Council law. These humans have already violated every law of civilized warfare, Tuxmari snapped. We will fight fire with fire. The bombardment began an hour later. Energy beams rained down from space, destroying human military bases on Mars. But Tuxmari made a crucial error. Some of those bases were near civilian settlements. When the news reached the Council chambers, the reaction was immediate and explosive. You did what? Council Prime. Veltar's voice rose to a shriek that hurt alien ears across the chamber. I used necessary force to defeat the enemy, Tuxmari replied via communication link. You bombed civilians, Navigator Zilphone said, his crystalline form turning dark with anger. In 800 years, the Council has never targeted non-combatants. These humans are all combatants, Tuxmari argued. Their children make weapons. Their elderly provide intelligence. There are no true civilians among them. That is not the point, said Sage Mortis, the ancient representative of the ethereal collective. Her species was so old that most had forgotten what they originally looked like. We are supposed to be better than this. We are supposed to bring civilization, not destruction. The chamber erupted in arguments. 3 species, the crystals, the ethereals, and the Aquarians, formally protested the bombardment. The Saurians had already withdrawn most of their fleet, claiming they needed to re-evaluate the situation. On Earth, Jae-Sung Bae sat in a secret meeting room with a holographic projection of Navigator Zilphon. The crystal being had made contact. through hidden channels, claiming to represent several council species that opposed the war. "My people are not evil," Zilphone said, his translated voice full of regret. "But we have become comfortable. For so long, other species have simply surrendered when we arrived. We forgot that some beings would rather die than give up their freedom." "And now?" Jae-sung asked. "What happens to the council?" "It is breaking apart," Zilphone admitted. "Half of us want to end this war. The other half want to increase the violence until you surrender. War Master Crick speaks of using planet-killer weapons." Jae-sung felt a chill run down his spine. "Can they do that?" "Technically, yes. But it would violate every principle the council was founded on. Some of us would fight to prevent it." Back in the council chambers, the arguments continued. War Master Crick stood at the center of the room, his insectoid form towering over most of the other representatives. "You are all fools," he declared. "The humans are a disease that will spread across the galaxy if we do not stop them now. Their violence, their chaos, their refusal to accept proper order. These things are contagious. Other species will see that resistance is possible and follow their example." "Maybe that would not be such a bad thing," said Sage Mortis quietly. The chamber fell silent. The ancient ethereal rarely spoke, and when she did, others listened. "For 800 years," she continued, "we have congratulated ourselves on bringing peace to the galaxy. But what kind of peace is it when entire civilizations lose the will to create, to explore, to dream? These humans are violent, yes, but they are also alive in a way that most of our subject species are not." "You suggest we allow chaos to return to the galaxy?" Veltar asked. "I suggest we consider that perhaps perfect order is another form of death," Mordes replied. The council meeting ended without resolution. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council could not agree on what to do. In space around Earth, both human and alien fleets prepared for the next phase of the war. But now, some of the alien ships were pointing their weapons at each other instead of at the planet below. The humans had done more than fight back against the Council. They had shattered the unity that had held the galactic government together for 800 years. Tae-min Kim stood at the observation deck of Earth's orbital command station, watching the alien fleets through a telescope. Some were moving, away from Earth. Others were taking aggressive positions. A few seemed to be arguing with each other, their weapons powered but not yet firing. Captain Hyun-woo Lee stared at the massive ships approaching Earth's solar system. Each one was the size of a small moon, dark and angular like daggers made of metal. These were not exploration vessels or even normal warships. These were planet killers, designed for one purpose only. "How many?" he asked his sensor officer. "7 confirmed, sir. Maybe more behind them." Hyun-woo closed his eyes for a moment. The Earth fleet had maybe 200 ships left after the fighting. Most were damaged. All were much smaller than what they faced. In any normal battle, this would be the end. But humans had never been normal. "Send a message to all ships," he ordered. "We're going to Nexus Prime." His bridge crew stared at him. Nexus Prime was the heart of Council space, where their government met. It was the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. "Sir," said his tactical officer, Seung-ho Park, "that's a suicide mission." "Yes," Hyun-woo replied. "But if we stay here, Earth dies anyway. At least this way we force them to listen to us." In the ship's cargo bay, Marine Commander Yoonbi Shin checked her armor one more time. She was leading 300 Marines on what everyone knew was a one-way trip. Her soldiers came from a dozen different countries, but they all understood their mission. "Remember," she told them, "we're not trying to conquer the station. We just need to get our diplomats to the council chambers, whatever it takes." One of her Marines, a young man from Canada, raised his hand. "Ma'am, what if they try to surrender?" "Then we accept it gracefully," Yoonbi replied. "But somehow I don't think they will." Deep in the ship's engine room, Kyung Soo-jung worked frantically to keep the damaged systems running. The Indomitable had taken heavy damage in the previous battles. Half her weapons didn't work, her shields flickered on and off, and her engines made sounds that no engine should make. "Can she make it to Nexus Prime?" asked his assistant. "Maybe," Kyung-soo said, welding a patch over a cracked power conduit. "She's held together with determination and spare parts. But she's got heart, this ship." The human fleet moved through space like a wounded animal looking for one last fight. Most of the ships trailed debris and atmosphere. Some had holes blown completely through their hulls, but they kept flying toward the most dangerous place in the galaxy. On the planet below, Tame and Kim received reports from around the world. The alien planet killers were charging their weapons. Cities were being evacuated, but there was nowhere to hide from weapons that could crack a planet in half. "Sir," said Sora Park, "we're getting communications from the moderate council species. They're begging us to surrender before the hardliners destroy Earth. And our answer? The same as always. No." Taemin looked out the window at the city of Seoul. People were going about their business even though death hung over them like a sword. Children played in parks. Street vendors sold food. Couples held hands as they walked. "You know," he said, quietly, "I think I finally understand what makes us human." "What's that?" "We hope even when hope is impossible." In the council chambers, War Master Crix stood before a projection showing the human fleet heading toward Nexus Prime. His mandibles clicked with amusement. "They come to us like moths to a flame," he said. 200 damaged ships against the entire Council defense fleet. It will be a glorious slaughter. But Navigator Zilphon felt something different as he watched the human ships approach. They moved with purpose, not desperation. Even facing certain death, they flew in perfect formation. "Perhaps," he said softly, "we should ask ourselves why they are coming here." "To die uselessly," Crix replied. "What else?" Council Prime Veltar swirled nervously. "Our defense fleet reports the humans will arrive in 6 hours. Should we evacuate the station?" "Absolutely not," Crix declared. "We will show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Council." But as the hours passed, more reports came in that troubled even the war-loving Crix. The human ships were not behaving like a defeated fleet. They moved with precision, adjusted their formation constantly, and somehow kept flying despite damage that should have crippled them. "Sir," reported a council technician, "the human ships are breaking into 3 groups. 2 are moving to flank our defense positions. The 3rd is heading straight for the station." Crix frowned. "Flanking maneuvers? These primitives understand tactical deployment?" The battle began when the human fleet reached the outer defenses of Nexus Prime. The Council had 500 ships protecting their capital, each one more advanced than anything humans could build. The fight should have been over in minutes. Instead, it turned into chaos. Seung-ho Park coordinated the human attack from the Indomitable's bridge. He had studied every battle humanity had ever fought, from ancient wars to modern conflicts. Now he applied those lessons to space combat. "Group Alpha, execute ramming attacks on their heavy cruisers," he ordered. "Group Beta, use hit-and-run tactics on their flanks. Group Gamma, follow us straight through their center." The aliens tried to form orderly battle lines, but the humans wouldn't cooperate. Some human ships charged directly into enemy formations, sacrificing themselves to break up alien defenses. Others darted in and out like angry hornets, striking where least expected. "They fight without any pattern," complained an alien admiral. "Every time we predict their movements, they do something different." "That's because they're not following a plan," his tactical officer replied. "They're improvising." Captain Hyunwoo led the central attack group straight toward the Council station. Enemy fire tore through his formation, destroying ship after ship. But the remaining vessels kept coming, weaving through the alien fire like a school of fish avoiding predators. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported his damage control officer. "Life support failing on Decks 3 through 5. "Seal what you can and keep flying," Hyunwoo ordered. Behind him, Marine Commander Yoonbi Shin prepared her troops for boarding action. The plan was insane. They would ram the Council station and fight their way to the chambers where the alien government met. 2 minutes to impact," announced the pilot. Yoonbi looked at her Marines. They were scared, but they were ready. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to prove that freedom is worth dying for." The Indomitable broke through the final line of defense, her hull glowing red from enemy fire. Kyung Soo-jung had pushed the engines far beyond their safety limits, but somehow they kept running. "Brace for impact," Hyunwoo shouted. The ship slammed into the Council station's docking bay with enough force to shake the entire structure. Alarms screamed throughout the station as atmosphere rushed out of the damaged sections. But the ship didn't stop there. Its momentum carried it deep into the station, crushing alien defenders and smashing through barriers that were supposed to be impenetrable. When the Indomitable finally came to rest, it was buried halfway inside the Council's most secure facility. All Marines, move out! Yunbi commanded. Her troops poured out of the wrecked ship and into the alien station. They found themselves in corridors designed for species much different from humans. Some ceilings were too low, others too high. The gravity felt wrong, and the air tasted strange. But they kept moving. The alien defenders had never faced boarding actions before. For 800 years, space battles had been fought ship to ship, with clean energy weapons and civilized rules. The idea of soldiers actually entering an enemy facility and fighting hand-to-hand was completely foreign to them. "They're inside the station," screamed a Council security officer. "Humans are inside the station!" "How is that possible?" demanded his commander. "They rammed us, sir. They actually rammed their ship into our docking bay and are fighting their way through the corridors." The human Marines moved through the station like a force of nature. When they encountered locked doors, they blew them up. When they faced energy barriers, they found ways around them. When alien security forces tried to stop them, they fought with weapons, tools, and bare hands. "We need to reach the Council chambers," Yunbi told her troops as they fought through another corridor. "Whatever happens to us, our diplomats need to get there." Behind the Marines came a small group of humans in civilian clothes. Taemin Kim was among them, along with other diplomats who had volunteered for this impossible mission. As they moved deeper into the station, alien defenders fell back in confusion. They had weapons that could vaporize a human with one shot, but they kept missing. The humans moved too unpredictably, used cover too effectively, and fought with a desperation that alien military training had never prepared them for. "Sir," reported an alien officer to War Master Crix, "the humans have reached level 7. They're only 3 levels from the Council chambers." Crix's mandibles clicked in rage. "Impossible! Deploy all security forces. Use lethal force." "We are using lethal force, sir. It's not working." In the Council chambers, panic spread among the representatives. Some called for evacuation. Others demanded that the entire station be destroyed rather than let humans reach them. But Council Prime Veltar made a different choice. "Open the chambers," he ordered. "Sir?" his aide asked in confusion. "You heard me. Open the chambers. Let them come." For the first time in 800 years, the Galactic Council was about to meet with an enemy that had fought its way to their door, and that enemy was human. The Council chambers fell silent as the massive doors opened. Taemin Kim walked through the entrance, his simple black suit a stark contrast to the crystalline beauty of the alien meeting place. Behind him came 3 other human diplomats, all of them dirty and tired from fighting through the station. Council Prime Veltar floated above his chair, his misty form swirling with emotions no human could read. Around the circular table sat representatives of 12 alien species, some beautiful, others terrifying, all watching the humans with a mixture of fear and curiosity. "So," Veltar said, his voice like wind chimes in a storm, "the humans have come to us." Taemin looked around the room slowly, meeting the eyes of each alien representative. Some glared at him with hatred. Others seemed afraid. A few, like Navigator, Zilphon, watched with something that might have been respect. "We have," Taemin replied simply. War Master Crix stood up, his insectoid form towering over the table. "You have invaded our sacred chambers. You have killed our soldiers. You have violated every law of civilized warfare. Why should we not execute you where you stand?" "Because," Taemin said, walking to the center of the room, "you asked us to come." "We did no such thing," Crix snapped. "Yes, you did." Taemin activated a small device, and holographic images filled the air around them. "You gave us an ultimatum. Surrender or be destroyed. You forced us to choose between freedom and death. We chose freedom." The images showed scenes from the war, human ships ramming alien vessels, soldiers fighting to the death rather than surrendering, civilians working day and night to build weapons with their bare hands. "Look at what you made us become," Taemin continued. "We didn't want this war. We were happy living on our one small planet, fighting our small wars, solving our small problems. But you couldn't leave us alone. Sage Mordes, the ancient ethereal representative, spoke for the first time. Her voice was like whisper of wind through old leaves. Tell us about your species, human. Help us understand what we are fighting. Taimin nodded and waved his hand. The holographic display changed to show Earth's history, wars and disasters, but also art and music and discovery. We are a young species, he began. We have lived on, our world, for only a few 100,000 years. In that time, we have faced ice ages, plagues, volcanic eruptions, and asteroid impacts. We have fought wars that killed millions. We have made mistakes that nearly destroyed our planet. The aliens watched the images with growing amazement. They saw humans rebuilding cities after earthquakes, rescuing people from floods, and exploring dangerous places just to learn something new. But every time disaster struck, we survived. Every time we fell down, we got back up. Every time someone told us something was impossible, we found a way to do it anyway. War Master Crix clicked his mandibles impatiently. What is your point? Human? My point, Taimin said, is that you don't understand what you're trying to destroy. You see our violence and call us primitive. You see our chaos and call us uncivilized. But you miss the most important thing about us, which is, we never give up. The room fell silent again. Taimin continued, his voice growing stronger. You have ruled this galaxy for 800 years. Every species you contacted surrendered immediately. They gave up their weapons, accepted your modifications, and became peaceful. But what did they become besides peaceful? Navigator Zilphon answered quietly. Docile, uncreative, stagnant. Exactly, Taimin said. You created a galaxy of sheep, safe, happy, obedient sheep. But what happens when the wolves come? Council Prime Veltars. Form swirled faster. What wolves? We have eliminated all threats to galactic peace. Have you? Taimin asked. What about threats from outside the galaxy? What about species you haven't discovered yet? What about disasters you can't predict or control? He gestured to the holographic display, which now showed images from deep space telescopes, dark nebulae, dying stars, and empty regions where something might be hiding. The universe is vast and dangerous. For 800 years, you have been building a civilization of beings who have forgotten how to fight, how to struggle, how to overcome impossible odds. You have created a galaxy that will die the moment it faces a real threat. Sage Mordes leaned forward. And you believe humans are the answer to this problem? I believe we are part of the answer, Taimin replied. We are the species that fights when fighting is necessary. We are the ones who refuse to surrender when surrender means extinction. We are your immune system. War Master Crix laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Immune system? You are a disease. Maybe, Taimin admitted. But diseases sometimes make the body stronger. You have been living in perfect health for so long that you have forgotten how to heal. Sora Park stepped forward and activated another holographic display. This one showed tactical analyses of the recent battles. Look at how your own forces performed, she said. When faced with real resistance, half of your fleets retreated. Your soldiers were afraid to leave their ships. Your commanders had no experience with actual warfare. We had no need for such experience, protested an alien admiral. But you do now, Sora replied. Because we exist. And if we exist, other species like us probably exist too. Somewhere in the dark between stars, there might be something much worse than humans. Something that makes us look like peaceful children. The alien representatives looked at each other with growing unease. For 800 years, they had assumed. Their galaxy was the entire universe that mattered. Navigator Zilphon stood up slowly. The human speaks truth. We have grown weak in our perfection. But what do you propose? That we allow chaos to return to the galaxy? Taimin shook his head. Not chaos. Balance. Keep your peace, your order, your civilization, but keep us too. Let us be the sword you hope you never have to use. And in return? Asked Council Prime Veltar. In return, we serve as your military arm. When diplomacy fails, when threats emerge that your peaceful species cannot handle, you call us. We will be the ones who fight, so that others don't have to. Elder Cathron spoke for the first time. He was the oldest being in the chamber, representing a species so ancient that they had evolved beyond physical form. His voice sounded like distant thunder. This is a dangerous proposal, young human. You ask us to keep predators in our house. I ask you to keep guardians in your house, Taemin corrected. The same way you keep fire in your homes. Fire can burn down your house if you're careless, but without fire you freeze in the dark. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some species demanded that humans be destroyed completely. Others argued for the original plan of neural modification. But more and more voices began to support a third option. Navigator Zilphon presented the formal proposal. We offer humanity full membership in the Galactic Council. Not as subjects, but as equals. Earth keeps its weapons, its military, and its independence. In exchange, human forces serve as the Council's defense fleet. War Master Crix stood up angrily. This is madness. We cannot trust these violent primitives. Can we trust ourselves? Asked Sage Mordes. Look what we have become. We are so afraid of conflict that we cannot defend ourselves. Perhaps it is time to remember that sometimes peace can only be preserved through strength. The vote was closer than anyone expected. 6 species voted to destroy humanity. 5 voted to accept the proposal. The deciding vote belonged to Elder Cathron. The ancient being was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I have lived for 10,000 years. I have seen civilizations rise and fall, species evolve and extinct. I have learned that the universe rewards those who adapt and punishes those who become too rigid. He paused, and the chamber held its breath. These humans are chaos incarnate. They are violent, unpredictable, and dangerous. But they are also alive in a way that we have forgotten how to be. They hope when hope is impossible. They fight when fighting is pointless. They refuse to accept defeat, even when defeat is certain. Another pause. Perhaps that is exactly what this galaxy needs. I vote to accept the human proposal. The chamber erupted in voices, some cheering, others protesting, but the decision was made. 3 months later, human patrol ships moved through the outer regions of the galaxy, watching for threats that might come from the darkness between stars. Earth had become the galaxy's sword, ready to defend worlds that had forgotten how to defend themselves. In the council chambers, now expanded to include human representatives, Taemin Kim sat at the table where decisions affecting billions of lives were made. Any regrets? Asked Navigator Zilphon during a break in the session. Taemin looked out at the stars through the chamber's transparent walls. Ask me again in 100 years, he said, when we see what we've become. But deep in his heart, he knew they had made the right choice. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or subjects, but as guardians. The universe was vast and full of dangers. Now it had humans to stand watch against the dark.